good, even in uh, engineering world. Uh, Good job to the United States for the Artemis 2, the in Integrity Space Module, the European Space Agency. I mean, all these like Giga Chat engineers, the commanders, the astronauts, all four astronauts, the two white guys, the one black guy, and then the one woman. So that's pretty good in diversity. Um, in the Trump administration, we're getting a lot of diversity in the space program. We're the first time in over 50 years we were able to travel to the moon. Orbit the moon, not land on the moon. So that's always the caveat. We really land on the moon. We orbited the moon. Yeah. So it's pretty cool. And also, I like how I'm looking. I'm definitely a lot of calorie deficit. Don't listen to people. Most people have no idea what they're talking about, and most people don't know much about anything. So always, listen to the literature, listen to people smarter than you, and things like that. And here's one of the projects. Hua, 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 hua. Wow, this is so cool. And as a progress report, I'm 168 pounds. I'm so excited. I'm 168 pounds. It's been so hard for me to lose weight, man. It's just, especially those engineering jobs. Every time I do anything engineering, I go to engineering school, I get an engineering job. Anything that has to do with engineering, it just gets me ugly and fat. That's the one bad thing about engineering. It gets me in terrible shape, dude. So this time around, on my next engineering job, we're gonna stay fit, and then we're gonna stay working out, because there's so many fat engineers, especially in America, dude. We have fat people in general, but especially fat engineers. So you mean to tell me you're so smart to be an engineer, but you're not smart enough to understand that being fat is wrong? Being fat is a bad thing. It's ugly, it's unattractive, it's unhealthy, it's bad for your arteries, it's bad for your blood flow, etc., 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 etc. I'm not a medical doctor. I'm barely an engineer. But I know that much. I know that being obese, being overweight is terrible for you, dude. And I gotta take my own advice. So, going to my next job, we've been working hard in robotics engineering, where we're doing a lot of SolidWorks back there. Right now the computer's off, but we're doing a lot of SolidWorks back there. Let me turn it on for a second. Let's see. Computer. Man, why is this computer a slow computer? It's a slow computer. Beautiful.
Leads to more thoughts. You have to save it. Make sure that you have save it and give it a name of Cripple, and then cross this. Now it's time to make this gear.
So you see back there, we're studying. We're gonna be a robotics engineer. We're studying. And then you wash your hat. Look at this cool
Simply take
stamina
your
hat.
iPhone to blink white and make sure that you have
Damn, bro, what the hell? Holy smokes.
drop down this menu and click on Add in and make sure that you have enabled the SolidWorks toolbox. So you have to check these two boxes, SolidWorks toolbox library, and click on OK. So when you click on this,
Yeah, so we got that going on. We're doing a lot of tutorials and things like that. Now let me attach the selfie stick to this thing. So you attach it like so. It's not that stable, but it should get the job done. We still have to get a pin. My vernier caliper is not working. That's why I'm not 3D printing right now. So I can't really get the accurate dimensions because I'm not, my vernier caliper, people know a vernier caliper is a ruler where you can measure inner diameter, outer diameter, ID, OD, thickness of parts, etc., tolerances. So without a caliper, I have no idea how to dimension my parts. So that's why I'm kind of just like chilling right now. I'm not really doing that calipers. I have to get a battery, one of those little clock batteries, one of those circular batteries. And yeah, but anyways, the message for today is you don't want to be a fat engineer, especially being young, dude. You don't want to be a fat engineer. You don't want to be like a fat ass, you don't want to be like out of shape. You don't want to be stupid. I mean, I understand, engineering is a lot of desk work. You're sitting down all of the time. It's stressful. You got deadlines. Especially it could be hard to work out. But believe me, you do not want to be a fat engineer. It doesn't matter how good of an engineer, how smart you are, how genius you are. You could be a rocket scientist with 3 MIT PhDs, with 40 years of experience at SpaceX. It doesn't matter. You don't want to be an obese engineer. It's bad for your health. It's bad for everything. So I put a stop to it. I put a stop to it. I was 205 pounds, coming out of engineering school. And I was getting girls, girls always like me. I don't know why. I guess my personality or my face or something about me, girls like me. But it wasn't really just girls. It was like my fitness, dude. It's like, what the hell? Like I want to be, life. There's more to life than engineering, even though this is an engineering channel. Yeah, there's more to life than engineering. So like, for example, like being in shape and working out. Look how amazing my arms look. Holy smokes, I almost have a six-pack too. Damn. So this has taken a long time. This has taken a long time to get this great body of mine. I mean, it's not like I'm some Mr. Olympian over here, or like some Giga Chad or anything. But yeah, I really like how I look. So that was very important for me, my looks. That's why this channel is called The Shallow Engineer, because we all have to be shallow. We have to take care of our health. We have to work out on top of being a brilliant genius robotics engineer or whatever you got to be, rocket scientist, astrophysicist, name your hard science, Nobel laureate or whatever. So that's one of the mistakes, that's one of the mistakes I noticed about these geniuses, these Albert Einsteins of the world, or the Isaac Newton IQs, Terence Tao, the mathematician from UCLA, like all these like geniuses, right? They're so smart, but they don't work out, dude. They don't work out. So I think personally, the best way to live life is to be kind of an athlete. So like, do sports, go to the gym, jog, just constantly work out. And I don't even eat that well, honestly. Honestly, I don't even eat that well. I eat a lot of garbage. But it doesn't matter, because the way the body works is through tension and compression. So like when you're increasing the weight, of the tension and compression, you're getting bigger or more muscularity or more there's this hypertrophy. You're breaking the muscle fibers and regenerating the muscle fibers. And when the muscle fibers regenerate, they regenerate stronger. And that is the amazing of the body. That is the amazing aspects of the human body, is that basically the muscle fibers regenerate to having a stronger connection. So yeah, workout. That's my tip for the day. On top of all that bullshit in engineering, you still have to look good. That's my message. That's my message. You have to be a shallow engineer. So that's my that's my message for the day. And then we have I'm making my dinner right now. So let me show you what I do for dinner. I mean, I guess I don't eat that well, but this is my dinner. Just avocado and this, because we're cutting, so we're not trying to like get really fat. So we're eating very little calories. And then we're drinking this zero sugar. We got our zero sugars here. Beautiful zero sugars. Put it up there. I just like how I look. Holy smokes, dude! That muscle. 18-year-old Pablo should be proud of 33-year-old Pablo. I should be proud of it. Alright, so now we have to wait a couple minutes. We have to wait a couple minutes. And then we add the avocado, and then we, so also, take care of your health. So like take care of your, so my, I haven't bald, thanks to the greatness of whatever, I haven't balded. I haven't lost my hair. I have my entire set of hair. My teeth are okay. My skin needs work. My skin is a little dehydrated. So I gotta work on my skin. But other than that, everything's amazing. Like when I finished engineering school, I was so depressed when I graduated from engineering school, dude. I was so fucking depressed when I graduated from engineering school. Oh my gosh, 'cause I was so fat. I was so ugly, and I'm just being honest. I mean, maybe it's just like offensive to some people, but I honestly was like just an ugly engineer. I was just a double chin, man boobs, my girlfriend was complaining that I was so fat. Like it was just a mess. Like I was just out of shape. But I was an amazing engineer. I was completely invested in the science and mathematics and all the coursework. So I was really invested in engineering. I was really, really into it. But I neglected my health. So definitely don't ever neglect your health. So that's the message for the day. You have to figure out how to do both, how to be a great engineer and at the same time have a great body. It's hard. It's a lot of times it's one or the other, dude. Some of my bosses have had the worst health ever, dude. It's diabetes, high blood pressure, cancer, smoking, bad breath. I mean, the list goes on. Hypertension. I mean, a myriad of diseases. And I'm just like, Jesus Christ, Jehovah, what's going on? You know, health is wealth. You know, health is wealth. So that's the message for today. You know, don't justify because you're so smart. Don't justify that makes it okay to be unhealthy. You know, that is a terrible, terrible, terrible mistake. It's a terrible mistake. You know, don't justify an unhealthy body or an unhealthy being out of shape, being fat for just because you're smart. You know, and that was my mistake when I was younger. When I was in college, I was like, oh well, you know, I'm 220 pounds or whatever. So I'm super obese, but at least I'm smart. You know, but I'm telling you, that is a huge mistake. That is a huge mistake. So for the younger engineers, you know, for the younger engineers that are going through college, you know, that is my piece of advice for the younger engineers. To really, I know college is hard. I know thermodynamics and all those classes are hard, but you cannot skip the gym. You cannot skip working out, sweating. It is non-negotiable. I'm gonna do it for the rest of my life because look at how amazing I look, dude. This is not genetics. This is all just going to the gym right after work or, you know, right after whatever, you know, consistently going to the gym, consistently for a couple years now. I just haven't stopped going to the gym and I look incredible. And, you know, I've also met a lot of girls, a lot of beautiful girls at the gym too. So it improves your social skills, it improves everything. Anyways, so yeah, let me show you a little bit of SolidWorks. So let's see. This is my computer here. This is my setup. So we got the
option. Here we have the toolbox. So you have to expand it, click on yes, and yes again.
So shout out to RoboCAD. RoboCAD has amazing SolidWorks tutorials if you want to learn about robotics. So I'm learning on the gripping element and gear design for robotic gripping element design, robot gripper, pin and aligner assembly, robot gripper. So robot gripper is like just a robot claw, just like that, and it has 2 gears, and it has a lot of stuff. But you know, when you work these jobs, you have to sit down, and you're sitting down in a cubicle for many hours. You're sitting down in a cubicle for years and years at a time, and you're sitting down in a cubicle, and your life is passing you by, and you're just in terrible shape, you know. So, you know, I started late in my fitness career. I started like at 29, I would say. So I was a late start, you know. I was a late start. And I just noticed this. I was like, wait a minute. Why am I so smart but I'm not in shape? That was the light bulb. That was the light bulb. And I was like, I gotta change my lifestyle. So I changed my lifestyle. And yeah, man, it's amazing. I'm almost there. I have to lose